The Apothecary Diaries delivers one of its darkest and most revelatory episodes yet with Season 2 Episode 21, titled Taibon. This episode peels back layers of court intrigue, revealing shocking connections between characters while culminating in a horrifying act that will leave viewers stunned. As Maomao faces punishment in Shisei's stronghold, ancient secrets come to light that connect the Imperial family to unexpected characters, changing everything we thought we knew about the series' complex political landscape. The episode opens with Maomao contemplating the resurrection potion that was apparently created during attempts to develop an immortality potion. She notes that Suirei actually came back to life using it, acknowledging the skill of the previous apothecary. Meanwhile, Shisui continues to demand the impossible, a potion that would make her 10 years younger with just a sip. This establishes the ongoing tension between what is scientifically possible and the magical expectations of those in power, a consistent theme throughout the series. Daily life at the stronghold is disrupted when young Qiyu attempts to access a restricted area. Maomao notices a strange smell, wondering if there's a workshop below similar to one in her village. Her expertise immediately recognizes potential danger when she discovers a wire with a message saying, "Run, I'll distract the guard." It seems Qiyu is creating a diversion to help Maomao escape, but both are caught in the act. In a touching moment showing her protective nature, Maomao attempts to shield Qiyu from consequences by feigning ignorance, with Suirei helping to defuse the situation. The fragile peace is shattered when the cruel Lady Shisui appears, immediately threatening severe punishment for Qiyu's perceived misbehavior. In a characteristic moment combining both bravery and recklessness, Maomao mutters, "Crazy old hag," under her breath, unfortunately loud enough for Shisui to hear. To protect both Qiyu and the guard from Shisei's wrath, Maomao claims full responsibility, stating she asked the boy to help her escape. This selfless act results in Shisui ordering Maomao be thrown into the water chamber as punishment. The situation escalates when Shisei's son suggests using the Taibon instead, revealed to be a horrific form of capital punishment where victims are trapped in a pit with venomous snakes. This casual suggestion of extreme torture highlights the casual cruelty of this household. A significant detail emerges when we realize this explains Suirei's intense fear of snakes. She likely experienced this same punishment previously, adding depth to her character's trauma. In one of the episode's most characteristic moments, Maomao demonstrates her unflappable nature and survival skills when thrown into the Taibon. Rather than panicking about the snakes as expected, she methodically kills them, cooks them over the torch, and eats them. When a guard arrives to check on her, he's shocked to find her calmly eating snake meat rather than cowering in fear. "I used my hair stick to cut it up and cooked it over the torch," she explains matter-of-factly, noting that the snakes were slow due to the approaching hibernation season. This scene perfectly encapsulates Maomao's unique approach to challenges: practical, unfazed, and always thinking about food. The guard reveals that Suirei and Qiyu sent him to help Maomao, showing the bonds of loyalty forming despite the harsh environment. More urgently, he mentions that a punitive force is approaching the stronghold, causing chaos among the inhabitants. When he warns Maomao about gunpowder being manufactured in the basement, specifically cautioning her to avoid that dangerous area, Maomao predictably does exactly the opposite, her curiosity compelling her to investigate. In the basement, Maomao discovers people working in perilous conditions, making gunpowder with toxic smoke that threatens to poison them all. Even more alarmingly, they're using fire near the explosive material, creating a deadly situation. This discovery is interrupted by the appearance of Lady Loulan, who urgently tells everyone to evacuate because an army is coming to attack. In an unexpected gesture, she distributes silver to help them escape, revealing a compassionate side previously unseen. The episode's revelatory middle section begins when Maomao finds Loulan, who is surprised by her escape from the Taibon. When Maomao explains she survived by eating the snakes, Loulan responds with characteristic admiration for Maomao's unusual resilience. Loulan then makes the significant decision to share her true identity and backstory, marking a turning point in the narrative as long-hidden secrets come to light. In an emotionally powerful monologue, Loulan reveals that her mother barely recognizes her face, and Loulan is merely her mother's doll. A pretty, obedient doll. She recounts how her mother couldn't even recognize her when dressed as a servant girl, beating her with a fan and a heartbreaking illustration of their hollow relationship. Despite this mistreatment, Loulan sought to form a genuine connection with Suirei, whom her mother constantly bullied. The most significant revelation comes when Loulan explains Suirei's secret Imperial connections. She discloses that Suirei's grandmother was a court lady named Taiho who gave birth to the emperor's daughter before being cruelly separated from her child. This woman had served as Loulan's mother's lady-in-waiting in the rear palace. Taiho, along with her daughter, Suirei's mother, and a doctor, were expelled from the rear palace. This bombshell reveals that Suirei carries Imperial blood, a dangerous secret in a world where bloodlines determine power and status. Adding further complexity, Loulan explains that her mother married her father solely for revenge, using their union to create Loulan as an instrument for her vengeance. Her father possesses Western blood in his lineage, the same lineage as the Mother Royal, explaining Loulan's distinctive eye characteristics. With chilling clarity, she recalls her mother's constant refrain, "You can be the new Mother Royal," exposing how she was raised not as a beloved daughter but as a political weapon. Maomao, connecting pieces of a puzzle long in the making, addresses Loulan by her true name, Shisui, and asks a penetrating question about abortion medicine that once circulated in the rear palace. Referencing a ghost story Shisui had previously told about a cricket wife eating her husband, Maomao suggests Shisui was metaphorically describing herself, comparing her situation to an insect giving birth in the cage of the rear palace, only to eventually devour the emperor. With remarkable insight, Maomao deduces that Shisui rejected this predetermined fate. The episode takes its darkest turn when Maomao discovers the horrifying truth: Loulan/Shisui has poisoned numerous people in the stronghold, including women and children. Upon finding bodies of people who aren't breathing, Maomao confronts Shisui, who calmly explains she gave them medicine mixed with sweet juice after reading them a bedtime story. With disturbing rationality, she justifies this mass murder as mercy, claiming they would all face execution once the army arrived. Even young Qiyu, who had tried to save Maomao earlier, ultimately drank the poison in one gulp, despite seeming to understand what was happening. This devastating climax represents Shisui's ultimate rejection of the cycle of cruelty and manipulation that defined her upbringing. Rather than allowing these innocent people, particularly the children, to become pawns or victims in power struggles as she herself had been, she chose to give them what she perceived as a peaceful death. The horror of this act is juxtaposed against Shisui's serene demeanor, creating a profoundly unsettling conclusion to the episode. The final moments leave viewers with Maomao asking the crucial question, "Why did you bring me here?" Suggesting that Shisui wanted Maomao to witness her actions, perhaps as confession, perhaps as justification, or perhaps with some other purpose yet to be revealed. This chilling cliffhanger sets up significant moral and ethical questions for the next episode, as Maomao must decide how to respond to this mass poisoning even as the attacking army approaches. Episode 21 masterfully combines political intrigue with personal tragedy, revealing how the far-reaching consequences of imperial machinations destroy lives across generations. The revelation about Suirei's imperial bloodline connects disparate storylines while explaining the complex dynamics between characters. Meanwhile, Loulan/Shisui emerges as one of the series' most tragic figures. Raised as nothing more than a tool for revenge, she ultimately chooses a terrible path that she perceives as merciful rather than perpetuating the cycle of cruelty. As the stronghold faces imminent attack and Maomao confronts the reality of Shisui's actions, viewers are left to ponder the impossible choices forced upon these characters in a world where power corrupts absolutely, and innocent lives are treated as expendable. The episode's exploration of themes like agency, revenge, mercy, and the generational impact of trauma represents the Apothecary Diaries at its most philosophically complex and morally ambiguous.